Okay. All right. So, this is Mr. Murray. I am coming to you from my spare bedroom, which I have set up to work with you guys this um, fine April 14th that we're having. I think interrupting Mr. Sirianni's time by a few minutes, but I'm trying out new software, so it should make class a little bit more interesting. I think I'll be getting a few students a little bit later. I know I am working on a delay with this program, so whatever you're hearing from me is actually being said a few minutes before you hear it. So if you ask me a question, I might go on a little bit, but I will notice your question and then come back to it as we go. Now we're going to be using different screens today. Because I'm sharing my screen with you, so you will notice. Also, I might miss a couple of questions here and there because I'll have to go back to the screen to see your comments. But yeah, so I'll get started now for people who will hop on by the time the delay actually gets to you, and I'll explain our format, what that's going to be for the rest of the school year. So first things first, I'm going to go over this schedule that I made. Okay, so this is the 7th grade packet schedule. So I know for the first part of the school year, when we were on lockdown, I sent packets out, and then we also had the YouTube live events. So what's going to happen this time around is the packets aren't just, it's not an optional choice to do the packet or the Google Classroom. Now the packets are actually kind of the driving content, and the Google Classroom is going to be supplementary and more interactive, so it would be more like the types of activities we would do in class together, and the packet would be more the type of thing that I would want to grade from what you did in class with me. So if that makes sense. So both of them are due. Now you notice that the packet, this is the table of contents, so it's the first page of the packet. You'll notice that it has 7 weeks worth of work, and I organized them by week for you inside the packet. When you get one, you'll notice that each week also has a little page in between it to signify that that's the next week. I don't expect you to get overloaded on all this. It's not my intention for the work to be so much that you're having difficulty, keeping up with it. So, what I'm okay with is if you work, say, 20, 30 minutes a day on something, and for whatever reason you're working on your own, you can't ask questions all the time, maybe your parents not able to help you. If you only get through, say, 5 weeks of this work instead of all 7, I'm okay with that. Just work about 20, 30 minutes a day, finish an entire week's worth of assignments before you start the next week's worth of assignments, but if you don't complete them all, I'm okay with that. Just work at your own pace and finish an entire week before you move on. Now you notice the way the packets are broken up, there are different sections. So there's the week 1, Monday through Friday language arts practice. That one's pretty self-explanatory, and I'll pull one up on my screen right now for you to see. These are each a half a page prompts, so you just read the first one. It has a lot of editing and vocabulary in there. None of them are very long, and this is going to take the place of the morning prompt. So since you're doing a packet instead of working in class where I would write a question on the board, this is taking the place of that. So none of these should take you more than 5 minutes to do. They're all pretty quick. Most of them is just editing. You capitalize what needs capitalized, put a period if a period needs to be put in there, and then answer a couple real quick questions, which are all multiple choice, and then you're done. None of those should take very long. And if you notice up top, there's a Monday, and then there's a Tuesday, then there's a Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday activity. So just you can do one of those each day of the week once you get the packet, or you can always do them all at once. Your choice for that. After that, there's a vocabulary, very similar to what we would have done in class. I pulled one up so you can see an example. This is the very first one. I give you the definitions, and then you just use those definitions to complete the sentences. So instead of having to determine the vocabulary words, definitions here, I'm giving you them, and I just want to see if you can use them in a sentence. And then the page after this, which is also vocabulary, will ask you some questions, and you have to underline clues or circle clues within the passage. So it's a one-page vocabulary thing, and it's the same for each week. Each week begins with the same vocabulary style activity. After that, there's some stories. The first week and the fifth week are the only 2 weeks where you have to read 2 stories, and that's because the stories are relatively short. None of them are incredibly complicated. I tried to pick stories that I thought people might find interesting, so a lot of them deal with animals. I think there's a video game story towards the end. There's one about rattlesnakes, one about wolves, one about seals, so I tried to pick things that I thought people might find interesting. Once you finish the story, there are questions at the end of those. Then there is a language arts review, similar to the initial language arts packet that you guys were sent out earlier. And then the last thing is there's a writing assignment. And you'll notice there's a writing assignment for each week. And again, I understand some of you guys take longer with writing assignments, some of you guys take longer with reading assignments. So if it takes you more than a week to get through week 1, that's fine. Just give me 20 minutes a day, basically. And if you only get through, say, 4 or 5 weeks worth of the work, I'll be okay with that. Also, if you think the stories from a different week are more interesting, or if you think a writing assignment from a different week is more interesting than the assignment for the week that you're working on, I'm okay with you jumping around a little bit there. I still do want you to do the writing assignment, the reading assignment, the vocab, and the language arts assignments. But if you want to do week 6 before you do week 1, or if you want to start with week 7, or if you want to start with week 3, that's okay. Just make sure you complete all the assignments within that assigned week. Also, not all of the writing assignments require that you write 5 paragraphs. Most of them are actually write 1 paragraph. I know week 2 specifically says write a paragraph. So it's not like they're 5-paragraph essays every week, so you don't have to worry about that. Hi, Christian. I just saw that you popped on. I know you probably missed the beginning of it, so this is on a slight delay. So everything I'm telling you I'm saying it a few minutes before you see it. So I think it's about a minute behind. So if you ask a question, I'll probably be a minute behind. So basically, I was just explaining the packet. I made a table of contents for the next packet that's coming out, and I was just kind of going over that. The packets this time around aren't optional. Like, it's not an option to do the packet now or the Google Classroom. They're kind of both. The content for the week, the stuff that we're going to do online is going to be more interactive. I know I just spent like 10 minutes talking about the packet, but here in a second we're going to do something a little bit more interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I can only see your guys' comments when I'm on this screen. If I'm on another screen, I can't see it. So, I'm not always going to notice you're on as we bounce through different things. But I'll make sure, if you make a comment, if you're on, just so I make sure I give you credit for being here. So I'm writing your guys' names down right now. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to do something a little bit more interactive. So I'm glad there's a couple of you guys on here. I'm going to pop on some pirate music to get us in the mood for the activity. And we are going to do a second-person story together. Okay, so, alright, so hopefully you guys can all see this. It should be a treasure hunt story. What we're going to do, actually I'm going to kill the music because I think it's a little louder than I anticipated it would be. One sec. Okay, there we go. Alright. Just pretend like there's still pirate music in the background, if you don't mind. So, what we're going to do, we're going to go over second person. So far we've read stories that have all been first or third person. First person is as if the story is coming from the perspective of the person telling the story, and third person is if an outside narrator is telling you what's going on. So we just finished Anne Frank, which is a play. It was written from the perspective of Anne, but it was really kind of like a third-person type play. This one is going to be second person, and second person is almost never used in literature, because in second person you're telling someone what's happening, or you're telling someone what to do. So if any of you who are on right now can give me a guess of when you think most, where do you think most second person stories, or not stories, but when do you think second person is typically used in stories or language arts? Any guess? I'll give you an extra credit point if you can tell me when you think second person tends to be used. And I know there is a delay, so I'll just do a Jeopardy tune in my head while I wait for you guys to catch up. Okay, so basically, second person, the most common time that second person gets used is in, oh, you know what, I just figured out a way I can do this. Now I can see your guys' comments as I do this, so we're good. Okay, so second person is typically used in instruction manuals. So if you were trying to put a chair together, or if you were trying to put a bookcase together, let's get a guess though. Biography. A biography is going to be written in first person typically, or an autobiography rather would be first person, and regular biography would be third person, someone else telling you. But that's a really good guess, Hunter. But no, typically it's just instructions. Also in choose your own adventure stories, which I don't think are especially popular anymore, but that's what you guys are going to create. So I'm going to kind of read you through one that another teacher at a different Summit Academy created, and then you guys are going to create your own, and I'll walk you through how to do that. So this one's a pirate-themed one, so this is the title, obviously. Oh, went too far. All right, so this is the story, right? So in a nice pirate voice, your ship has run into a storm during the night. Fear can be sensed in all crew members. Arr. You are capsized in the darkness and awaken the next day. Arr. Okay, so what happens next is on the next slide, you guys get to decide what happens. So you have no idea where you are. Arr. And you don't see any other land close by. Arr. You have some choices to make. Arr. So what you do is you decide, since you're stuck on this island and you're shipwrecked, do you decide to stay with the remaining part of the ship and wait to be rescued? Do you decide to explore the island? Or do you decide to wait on the beach for help by writing SOS in the sand? And since there's a delay, I'll give you guys a second to pick one of those options. And what happens is when you pick one of these options, I'll click that sentence and we will go to the page that goes along with that. So if you pick you want to explore the island, the repercussions of that will happen. If you decide you want to wait on the beach for help, then the consequences of that will happen. And some of the consequences are pretty severe, and some of them, are good. Just kind of like playing a video game almost. So just type in A, B, or C when you guys catch up to where I'm at. And, oops, wrong thing. So I'll just wait for you guys to type in A, B, or C. I already read it, so I don't want to cheat and pick the correct answer. So, Hunter, Tristan, just write A, B, or C. I think there's a third person in here who I'm aware of who that is, but, it's probably Mr. Nelson. I know he gets bored throughout the day and he watches these things. Okay, So, I'll just pick force because I'm not sure how long the delay is. Maybe it's longer than I thought, but I don't just want to be staring at the screen. So, yeah, everything's going good. Fits. All right, so we are going to go with option B. You decide to explore the islands. So what happens is you click B, right? And then it jumps ahead to that page. And I'll show you guys how to do this. Like I'll walk through how to set up a Google slide this way. But since you explored the island R, you found the map leading to your different supplies. R. Choose to find one of the following supplies that would help you survive. R. So, would you pick a compass? Would you pick a rope? Or would you pick a knife? So you're going to explore the island. You can only take one of these supplies, I guess, because maybe you only have pockets, and maybe you're weak from the shipwreck, you know, like the storm and swimming and stuff. And so you can only carry, for some reason, you can't carry a compass and a knife. You can only have one, or a rope, and you get to pick. And which one you pick will dictate what happens next. So I'll give you a moment to type in A, B, or C. Is class 0? I don't know what you mean by... Okay, so I'm going to say that we picked a compass, all right? So we're going to go with that. So I'm going to click compass. Since you've used the compass, you have navigated to Isles de la Juventud without any food and water. Explore the isle and come up with a way to survive. So, oops, I went the wrong page. We chose the compass. Okay, so, what happened? What did I do? There it is. Okay, so Explorer was the choice that you made. As you walk inland, you notice that your group is not alone. You have the feeling that someone's eyes are on every moment you make. It must be the nerves, you tell yourself, but your first instincts are right. There, right behind the steep hill, danger awaits. You must decide to go with your gut or be brave and confront what is ahead. So you click one of these now. Do you go with your gut, or are you going to be brave and confront what is ahead? Okay, and just because like we don't have a ton of time left, I'll pick force. I'll say that we're brave because, you know, you guys are brave. And you've chosen to be brave and confront what is ahead. You know that you are not alone, but staying behind is not an option for survival. You need food and shelter. You continue to walk cautiously. Along the way, you see mermaids in the ocean. Nice. You greet the mermaids and strike up a conversation. You ask them about the island. You find out that there is a compass that will lead to other inhabitants. You choose. Hey, good thing you picked Be Brave, right? So I'll give it a second for you to pick this time, A or B. Do you choose to search for the magical compass, or do you ignore the mermaids and continue on? Because perhaps they're evil mermaids and they're going to eat you like that one Pirates movie with Johnny Depp. Yeah. So do you trust mermaids? You think they're going to be friendly like the Disney movie, or do you think they're going to be violent like the pirate? I guess that was also Disney though. The Pirates one or the cartoon one, I guess. So what do you think, compass or ignore the mermaids? Ignore. All right. Boom. After ignoring the mermaids, you search deeper in the interior of the island. After several hours, you are exhausted and collapse on a comfortable rock. You suddenly awake with the knife at your throat. Your former captain, Vane, the bastard, yells at you to get up and follow him. You can. Do you follow him or refuse? So he has a knife. So you can follow him or you can refuse. What do you think? Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to stop that story here. It keeps going, and I'm going to link this on the Google's Classroom. I just want to make sure I go over how you guys make it. I know I only have 10 minutes left. I know you guys have other stuff to do, especially if you were on with Mr. Sirianni beforehand. So what's going to happen on Google Classrooms, which I have up, I believe. Yeah, right here. Okay, so the instructions are going to be right here. You're going to write your own second person story. You're going to experiment writing in second person. You're going to create a choose your own adventure style story. I just wrote there that we just went over it, and I'm going to add the link to that pirate story that we just did, so you could finish it if you wanted. Um, Basically what you're going to do is develop a concept, such as like maybe you want to have people exploring an haunted mansion, or maybe you find a magical doorway in a closet, or maybe you were making TikTok videos and someone like famous from American Talent or whatever that show's called saw it, and they book you on their show where you come and sing and dance and whatever. But you create your own choose your own adventure type story. One thing with the pirate one, that we didn't pick any of the wrong answers, but most of the time, at least one of the answers for each time you're given options ends it. So like if you had chosen to stay on the beach, for instance, that would have caused your character to die, and that would have ended the story. So you don't actually have to write like a ton of different slides, because most of the choices are dead ends, right? So like, and I can show you guys that on this one by just going back to the beginning of it. Yeah. So if you had stayed, you would die, right? So the very first option, when you were stranded on the island, if you had chose like, hey, I want to stay where I'm at, that would have actually killed you. So most of the options are dead ends. And you do that because otherwise you would be writing like, 50 or 60 slides. And I know you guys like writing, but I don't think you like writing quite that much. So this is what's going to show when you click on that link that's in the Google Classrooms. So when you click on my second person story, it's going to bring this up. I didn't assign the assignment yet. As soon as I get off of YouTube, I'll assign it. But basically, you put the name of your story right here, and then you put your name right there, and then you pick a concept. It doesn't have to be one of the ones I mentioned. It can be basically anything. You can just kind of take an idea from a story that you've read, or from like a movie that you really like. Like I'm a big fan of Army of Darkness, so maybe I say like uh, magical portal opens and sucks you back into time, like medieval period, and now all of a sudden you're stuck in the medieval period. What do you do? And then I give you options for what you could possibly do. And then again, most of the options are going to be dead ends. So the easiest way to do this, if you notice the one that we read, none of them have more than say like 2-3 sentences, right? Even the one that intros the story is only 2 sentences long. So you don't have to write a ton on this assignment. So first you explain your event. It could be something as simple as, my mother made me clean my closet today. In the back of the closet, I found a portal to another dimension. And that's if you want to do something like that, or if you want to do, I was taking the garbage out when all of a sudden a bright light appeared and I woke up on an alien spaceship. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be fantastical. It could be something like that American Talent show, or it could be something kind of real life type situation. Like you could do something with the quarantine. You could do kind of like whatever you want, right? So it's up to you. Be creative. You guys are always pretty good about doing creative things, especially when we did those projects earlier in the year. Like I had a bunch of cool inventions from you guys. So, be creative. Make something insane. Uh, but don't think you're writing a ton for each slide. You're only really writing one or two slides. So another trick you need to know for this, when you have your options, because you can't read choose your adventure story in order, you won't go from like slide to slide to slide to slide. Instead, like see right here, we have you offer three options. If they choose option one, they will just go to the next slide, but option two or three, they're going to jump farther ahead. So what you're going to do, you're going to make a link here. So you go over, say option two, click the link button, and then see where it says slides in this presentation. That's what we're going to click on, and then you apply it. That way they jump to the appropriate slide, right? I don't think I typed which slide I wanted it to go to though, so I kind of messed that up. Yeah. And yeah, I want to link it to this one. Yeah, so bam, copy, and now link it. There you go. Bam, got it. Cool. So that's how you do that. You just click the option, the possibility, you click the link button, and then you click the the slide, the page that you want them to go to. So the previous slide, the third slide, the fifth slide, whatever, wherever you're going to type that information at. So not terribly complicated. And since most of the options are going to be dead ends, you're really only writing one story, and then you have a lot of dead ends. So you could have literally every option other than the correct option ends the story. So maybe if you're doing the American Talent or American Singer or whatever that show's called angle, like if you choose the wrong song, you get kicked out. If you choose to play a guitar instead of the drums, you get kicked out, or whatever. Like, try to like give them some clues so they have some potential way to guess correctly. But be creative and do what you want. I was thinking this should take no more than say 16 slides. But then again, remember too, that sounds like a lot, but a lot of the slides would be dead ends. So you won't really be writing a tremendous amount of sentences. Blah, blah. And since you're all going to make your own, I assigned it to make a copy for each student. You'll be able to even like read and take somebody else's story and try it out for yourself. So I was thinking this might be kind of interesting instead of me just giving you quizzes all the time. Right? So, does anyone have any questions for that? Or is that fairly straightforward? All right, and I know there's a delay, so I will stick on for a few moments just to make sure everybody's cool. I'm going to go ahead and assign that right now so you can see it now. That way if you have any questions, you can ask me immediately. The copy of the treasure hunt activity, that one you can only see. Like you can still like go through the whole thing and click things, but you can't change it. But the my second person story option, that one you each have your own copy, so you can each edit that. So that's the one that you can create and be creative on and do whatever. Like I look forward to reading some of your guys' stories. I know I was impressed when you guys did your projects earlier in the year, and you guys were pretty creative with your cereal boxes for the Algernon. So you guys, every time you've had a chance to do something creative, you've pretty much risen to the occasion. So why all this online stuff? Okay, so the online stuff, I'm trying to make this stuff more interactive. I know in class, you might have noticed that we do a lot of projects. So we did the cereal box projects. We did the invention projects. We did the eating bug thing. I try to like add at least one project per quarter, right? So this quarter, your project was actually going to be that Anne Frank thing if we had stayed in class, and we hadn't had this quarantine. And that was where you were either going to make a model or a drawing of the annex, or you were going to like perform a skit. You had like that whole list of options you could have done. Since we're stuck at home, we can't do that obviously because I don't know who has access to what types of materials. So instead, we're going to try to do some more interactive things. Um, it's not going to be too much work. It's actually going to be like it says you have to make the 16 slides, but each slide's only going to have like one or two sentences on it, so you don't have to worry about writing like this huge essay, right? Okay, cool. And that's a good point that you do have packets to do. And you came on, I think, after I started talking. So what I was saying with the packets were even though it's listed for 7 weeks, I realize a lot of you guys work at different paces, and I know it's harder to work at home a lot of times than in the classroom because you have more distractions. Also, your parents are probably giving you chores to do and things like that. So I don't care if you get all 7 weeks worth of this done, right? Like if you get say 4 weeks done or you get like 4.5 weeks done, 5 weeks done, I'm fine with that. All I really want you to do is work about 20 minutes a day. So if you work 20 minutes a day and you're doing the online stuff, you're doing the packet stuff, a combination of both, like I'm okay with that. So don't worry about you don't have every single assignment done and you're worried that that's going to cause you to fail or get a bad grade. I'm going to grade the quality of what you've done, not the quantity of what you've done, if that makes sense. So if you only do like say 2 3 weeks worth of work in the packet and then you do like a third of the online stuff, as long as it looks like you've been working the whole time, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like if it looks like you're only working for the first uh, part of the maybe you only work for like 2 weeks and then you just stop, like yeah, then that's not going to be fine. But if it looks like you're working the whole time, I'm not going to punish you for you know the bizarre situation that we find ourselves in. Hi, Katana. There's a slight delay from what I'm saying and when you guys type, so it probably took me a while before I acknowledged that you said hi, but hi. So I was just going over the next packet uh, table of contents, the order that that's due, and I went over a choose your own adventure style story that you guys get to create. So there's an example of one, and then there's also a option where you guys get to create your own, like second person kind of choose your own adventure style story. If you've ever read one of those, if you go to the Google Classrooms, it's on there as an assignment. The one that we read and the uh, your option to do your own are both on there. So the copy of the treasure hunt is the example, and the my second person story is the one that you can edit and create your own story. So I was trying to make things a little bit more interactive this time around. The only problem with this cool format is there's a bit of a delay. So if I ask a question, I sometimes have to wait a second. I think when you were popping on, someone was mentioning, Hunter was mentioning, he thought there might be a little bit too much work to get done. So I was explaining, as long as you're working like 20 minutes a day, a half hour a day, whatever, if you don't get completely done with the packet, I'm not going to dock your guys' grades for that. If you only get like say 4 weeks of it done or 5 weeks of it done, that's fine. Um, Hopefully the way we have this done is the online stuff's a little bit more interesting, and the not that I want you to be bored when you're doing the packet, but the packet's more like classwork style stuff, and the online stuff's supposed to be more interactive, more fun. At least that's my boring teacher's interpretation of it. I know my time's up, so I think another teacher is going to pop on here in a minute. Yeah, I just got a text asking if someone was live streaming now, so I think my time is up. So, I need to hop off probably. I'll just let them know that I'm on so they don't get upset. But, yeah, if you have any questions, ask it in the Google Classrooms or through the Google Meet. Okay, if you can't do the online stuff, that's okay. Just do the packet stuff instead. Just like it's kind of like a combination of both is the idea. So if you can't do the online stuff, that's okay. I know a few people mentioned that they weren't able to do it, and Miss Yingling sent me an email with a few people's names, I think, or a text or something like that. So I know a few people can't do it. That's fine. I'll just count your grades from the other stuff a little bit more. All right. Like I'll count your packet stuff as a higher curve than the online stuff. All right. But yeah. If you have any other questions, otherwise I'm going to hop off of this and get ready for my 8th grades. All right. Talk to you later.